English in Politics and Society. Political systems, parties. A. Political systems.
Politician. Politician. Political program. Political program. Party policy. Party policy. Resources allocation. Resources allocation. Collective leadership. Collective leadership. Directorial. Directorial. Parliamentary. Parliamentary. Semi-parliamentary. Semi-parliamentary. Presidential. Presidential. Semi-presidential. Semi-presidential. Legal system. Legal system. Confessional system. Confessional system. Economic system. Economic system. Cultural system. Cultural system. Other social systems. Other social systems. Each political system is embedded in a society with its own political culture, and they in turn shape their societies through public policy. Each political system is embedded in a society with its own political culture, and they in turn shape their societies through public policy. The interactions between different political systems are the basis for global politics. The interactions between different political systems are the basis for global politics. A framework which defines acceptable political methods within a society. A framework which defines acceptable political methods within a society.
Typologies of government. 1. Supranational political systems. Empires. Empires. Leagues. Leagues. Confederations and federations. Confederations and federations. The United Nations Organization. The United Nations Organization. 2. National political systems. Unitary nation states. Unitary nation states. Federacy. Federacy. Federal systems. Federal systems. 3. Subnational political systems. Tribal communities. Tribal communities. Rural communities. Rural communities. City-state. City-state. Regions. Regions. Political entities. Empires. Empires. Kingdoms. Kingdoms. Nation states. Nation states. Official nation. Official nation. Unofficial nation. Unofficial nation. Federal states. Federal states. Sovereign state. Sovereign state. Unitary states. Unitary states. Multinational states. Multinational states. Multi-state nations. Multi-state nations. Stateless nations. Stateless nations. Component states. Component states. Nominal state authorities. Nominal state authorities. Self-governing. Self-governing. Autonomous regions. Autonomous regions. No government. No government. Non-state societies. Non-state societies. Central government. Central government. Central federal government. Central federal government. Federalism. Federalism. Local government. Local government. Tony administration. Tony administration. Institutions. Institutions. States need to have a defined territory, a permanent population, a government, and a capacity to enter into international relations. States need to have a defined territory, a permanent population, a government, and a capacity to enter into international relations. A federation is a state with shared citizenship and a single international personality, in which sovereignty is shared. A federation is a state with shared citizenship and a single international personality, in which sovereignty is shared. A confederation is typically a union of independent states, unitary states, in which full sovereignty is retained. A confederation is typically a union of independent states, unitary states, in which full sovereignty is retained. Compared to a confederation has less centralized power. Compared to a confederation has less centralized power.
Forms of government. 1. Structure of power. Monarchies, including constitutional monarchies. Monarchies, including constitutional monarchies. Republics, usually presidential, semi-presidential, or parliamentary. Republics, usually presidential, semi-presidential, or parliamentary. Constitution. Constitution. The separation of powers. The separation of powers. The trias politica. The trias politica. The legislature. The legislature. The executive. The executive. The judiciary. The judiciary. Legislatures are an important political institution. Legislatures are an important political institution. Independent branches. Independent branches. Civil service commissions. Civil service commissions. Election commissions. Election commissions. Supreme audit institutions. Supreme audit institutions. 2. The source of power. A. Democracy. Democracies can be either republics or constitutional monarchies. Democracies can be either republics or constitutional monarchies. Popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty. Demarchy. Demarchy. Representative democracy. Representative democracy. Direct democracy. Direct democracy. Elected representatives. Elected representatives. Referendums. Referendums. Citizen juries. Citizen juries. B. Oligarchy is a power structure where a minority rules. Anocracy. Anocracy. Anarchism. Anarchism. Particracy. Particracy. Royal regime. Royal regime. Aristocracy. Aristocracy. Feudalism. Feudalism. Monarchy. Monarchy. Plutocracy. Plutocracy. Dictatorship. Dictatorship. Geniocracy. Geniocracy. Theocracy. Theocracy. See others. Republic. Republic. Meritocracy. Meritocracy. Technocracy. Technocracy. Hybrid regime. Hybrid regime. Adhocracy. Adhocracy. Slavery. Slavery.
B. Public administration.
Bureaucracy, street level. Bureaucracy, street level. Service. Service. Public. Public. Civil. Civil. Study of government decision-making. Study of government decision-making. Public administration as a public instrument whereby democratic society may be more completely realized. Public administration as a public instrument whereby democratic society may be more completely realized. Industrial citizenship. Industrial citizenship. Analysis of policies and the various inputs. Analysis of policies and the various inputs. The inputs necessary to produce alternative policies. The inputs necessary to produce alternative policies. Studies of policy processes. Studies of policy processes. Structures, functions, and behavior of public institutions. Structures, functions, and behavior of public institutions. Devising and executing policies. Devising and executing policies. Managing shared resources. Managing shared resources. Municipal housekeeping. Municipal housekeeping. Ensuring the efficient functioning of government agencies and programs. Ensuring the efficient functioning of government agencies and programs. Settlement model of public administration. Settlement model of public administration. Organizational theory in public administration. Organizational theory in public administration. Ethics in public administration. Ethics in public administration. Policy analysis and program evaluation. Policy analysis and program evaluation. Public budgeting and public finance. Public budgeting and public finance. Human resource management. Human resource management. The American Society for Public Administration, ASPA, 1939. The American Society for Public Administration, ASPA, 1939.
C. Policy.
Public policy, doctrine. Public policy, doctrine. Domestic policy. Domestic policy. Social policy. Social policy. Economic policy. Economic policy. Law enforcement. Law enforcement. Foreign policy. Foreign policy. Civil society. Civil society. Public interest. Public interest. The policy cycle. Harold Lasswell model. 1. Intelligence. 1. Intelligence. 2. Promotion. 2. Promotion. 3. Prescription. 3. Prescription. 4. Invocation. 4. Invocation. 5. Application. 5. Application. 6. Termination. 6. Termination. 7. Appraisal. 7. Appraisal. Public policy making, 1974. Agenda setting. Agenda setting. Policy formulation. Policy formulation. Decision making. Decision making. Implementation. Implementation. Evaluation. Evaluation. The Australian Policy Handbook by Peter Bridgman and Glenn Davis. Issue identification. Issue identification. Policy analysis. Policy analysis. Consultation, which permeates the entire process. Consultation, which permeates the entire process. Policy instrument development. Policy instrument development. Building coordination and coalitions. Building coordination and coalitions. Program design decision making. Program design decision making. Policy implementation. Policy implementation. Policy evaluation. Policy evaluation.
D. Government branches.
Separation of powers. The trias politica, legislature, judiciary, executive. The trias politica, legislature, judiciary, executive.
1. Legislature.
State departments. State departments. Bicameral legislatures featuring an upper house. Bicameral legislatures featuring an upper house. The administrative board. The administrative board. Purely administrative responsibilities. Purely administrative responsibilities. Laws enacted by legislatures are usually known as primary legislation. Laws enacted by legislatures are usually known as primary legislation. Legislators. Legislators. Congress. Congress. Council. Council. Legislative Council. Legislative Council. The Speaker of the State Council. The Speaker of the State Council. Estates or states. Estates or states. Assembly. Assembly. National Assembly. National Assembly. Legislative Assembly. Legislative Assembly. Legislative Committee. Legislative Committee. Members of the Legislative Assembly, MLA. Members of the Legislative Assembly, MLA. Deliberative assemblies at the subnational law-making power. Deliberative assemblies at the subnational law-making power. U.S. Senate and House of Representatives. U.S. Senate and House of Representatives. Senate political groups. Senate political groups. House of Representatives political groups. House of Representatives political groups. Parliament. Parliament. European Parliament. European Parliament. Semi-parliamentary. Semi-parliamentary. Chamber of Deputies. Chamber of Deputies. Senate Chamber. Senate Chamber. Delegate Room. Delegate Room. House of Assembly. House of Assembly. House of Chiefs. House of Chiefs. United States Capitol Building, where the Legislature of the United States Congress, meets, located in Washington, D.C. United States Capitol Building, where the Legislature of the United States Congress, meets, located in Washington, D.C. The State Capitol. The State Capitol.
2. Judiciary.
Resolved legal disputes. Resolved legal disputes. Disagreements. Disagreements. Interprets, defends, and applies the law in legal cases. Interprets, defends, and applies the law in legal cases. Supreme Court building houses, the highest court in the federal judiciary of the United States. Supreme Court building houses, the highest court in the federal judiciary of the United States. Prosecution office. Prosecution office. Appeal hearing. Appeal hearing. First instance trial. First instance trial. Appellate trial. Appellate trial. Public trial. Public trial. Lawyer. Lawyer. Prosecutor. Prosecutor. Judge. Judge. Defendant. Defendant. Suspect. Suspect. Criminal. Criminal. Witness. Witness. Material evidence. Material evidence. Unjust sentence. Unjust sentence. Serve sentence. Serve sentence.
3. Executive.
Cabinet. Cabinet. Cabinet collective responsibility. Cabinet collective responsibility. Members of lawmaking organizations. Members of lawmaking organizations. Head of state. Head of state. Monarch. Monarch. Supreme leader. Supreme leader. President. President. Semi-presidential. Semi-presidential. President of the Council of State. President of the Council of State. Government. Government. Government formation. Government formation. Government officer. Government officer. Head of government. Head of government. President of the government. President of the government. Chancellor. Chancellor. Prime Minister. Prime Minister. Premier. Premier. Chief Executive. Chief Executive. Ministry. Ministry. Minister President. Minister-President. President of the Council of Ministers. President of the Council of Ministers. Minister. Minister. Chief Minister. Chief Minister. First Minister. First Minister. Secretary. Secretary. Governor. Governor. Mayor. Mayor. Diplomatic Advisor. Diplomatic Advisor. Journalists and other political prisoners. Journalists and other political prisoners.
4. Election Commission.
Election Board. Election Board. Electoral Council. Electoral Council. Electoral Court. Electoral Court.
E. Political Science.
Modern political theorists. Modern political theorists. Political spectrum. Political spectrum. Comparative politics. Comparative politics. International relations. International relations. Political philosophy. Political philosophy. An expressed ideology or vision. An expressed ideology or vision. Social research. Social research. Cognitive neuroscience. Cognitive neuroscience. Sociology. Sociology. Psychology. Psychology. Psychiatry. Psychiatry. Anthropology. Anthropology. Neurosciences. Neurosciences. Constitutions. Constitutions. Political actors. Political actors. Legislature. Legislature. She has a degree in sociology and politics. She has a degree in sociology and politics. She studied politics at Leicester University. She studied politics at Leicester University.
F. Political documents.
Manifestos. Manifestos. Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence. Constitutional document. Constitutional document. Political speech and writing. Political speech and writing. Political dialects. Political dialects. Political conventions. Political conventions. International treaties. International treaties. Draft treaties. Draft treaties. Diplomatic discourse. Diplomatic discourse. Law. Law. Case law. Case law. Bill. Bill. He signed the PACT Act into law. He signed the PACT Act into law. Enactment. Enactment. Decree. Decree. Regulations. Regulations. State circular. State circular. Instructive texts. Instructive texts.
G. Isms parties. Political. Political. Non-political. Non-political. Regime. Regime. Political institutions. Political institutions. Political parties. Political parties. Party system. Party system. Political system. Political system. Electoral system. Electoral system. Depending on the level of pluralism. Depending on the level of pluralism. Multi-party. Multi-party. Two-party. Two-party. Dominant party. Dominant party. One party. One party. Moralism, everything was decided through words and persuasion and not through violence. Moralism, everything was decided through words and persuasion and not through violence. Realism is based on the use of power. Realism is based on the use of power. Chauvinistic. Chauvinistic. Colonialism. Colonialism. Colonists. Colonists. Colonial. Colonial. Colonial country. Colonial country. Communism. Communism. Marxism. Marxism. Socialism. Socialism. Fascism. Fascism. Nazism. Nazism. Imperialism. Imperialism. Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism. Totalitarianism. Totalitarianism. Racist. Racist. Supremacist. Supremacist. Territorialism. Territorialism. Landlordism. Landlordism. Sentimental archaism. Sentimental archaism. Post-materialism. Post-materialism. Environmentalism. Environmentalism. Revanchism. Revanchism. Irredentism. Irredentism. Globalists. Globalists. Extreme individualism. Extreme individualism. Complete collectivism. Complete collectivism. Positivism. Positivism. Interpretivism. Interpretivism. Rational choice theory. Rational choice theory. Behavioralism. Behavioralism. Structuralism. Structuralism. Post-structuralism. Post-structuralism. Realism. Realism. Institutionalism. Institutionalism. Pluralism. Pluralism. Capitalism. Capitalism. Post-capitalist society. Post-capitalist society. Consumerism. Consumerism. Consumerist. Consumerist. Economic sphere. Economic sphere. Economic crisis. Economic crisis. Libertarians. Libertarians. Left liberals. Left liberals. Far-right thugs. Far-right thugs. Freedom Alliance Party. Freedom Alliance Party. Anarchists. Anarchists. Anarchist Party. Anarchist Party. The Conservative and Unionist Party in England, commonly the Conservative Party and colloquially known as the Tories. The Conservative and Unionist Party in England, commonly the Conservative Party and colloquially known as the Tories. Reform. Reform. Labor. Labor.
Republic.
Republican Party. Republican Party. Republicans. Republicans. Republican ideals. Republican ideals.
Democracy.
Democratic Party. Democratic Party. Democrat. Democrat. Democratic ideals. Democratic ideals. There are three contending conceptions of democracy: aggregative, deliberative, and radical. There are three contending conceptions of democracy: aggregative, deliberative, and radical. They, citizens, have no clear views. They, citizens, have no clear views. Their views are not well-founded. Their views are not well-founded. On legislative proposals. On legislative proposals.
Aggregative democracy.
Socializes and educates citizens. Socializes and educates citizens. Check powerful elites. Check powerful elites. Manage all or most of the public policy of the society. Manage all or most of the public policy of the society. Polyarchic procedures. Polyarchic procedures. Self-interested and somewhat unaccountable political elites competing for votes. Self-interested and somewhat unaccountable political elites competing for votes. Free and open elections. Free and open elections.
Deliberative democracy.
Authentic deliberation. Authentic deliberation. If the decision-makers cannot reach consensus after authentically deliberating on a proposal, then they vote on the proposal using a form of majority rule. If the decision-makers cannot reach consensus after authentically deliberating on a proposal, then they vote on the proposal using a form of majority rule.
Radical democracy.
Hierarchical and oppressive power relations. Hierarchical and oppressive power relations. Allowing for difference, dissent and antagonisms in decision-making processes. Allowing for difference, dissent and antagonisms in decision-making processes.
Equality.
Have the same social status. Have the same social status. Socioeconomic status. Socioeconomic status. Protection of human rights and dignity. Protection of human rights and dignity. Health equality. Health equality. Economic equality. Economic equality. The absence of social class or caste boundaries. The absence of social class or caste boundaries. The absence of discrimination. The absence of discrimination.
Left-right spectrum.
Left-wing politics. Left-wing politics. Right-wing politics. Right-wing politics. Centrism. Centrism. The common people and a secular society, on the left. The common people and a secular society, on the left. Supporters of the monarchy, aristocratic privilege and the church, on the right. Supporters of the monarchy, aristocratic privilege and the church, on the right. Extreme elements of the left, far left, is generally progressivist. Extreme elements of the left, far left, is generally progressivist. More reformist approaches. More reformist approaches. Neoconservative supporting the spread of free markets and capitalism. Neoconservative supporting the spread of free markets and capitalism. One Nation conservatives more open to social welfare programs. One Nation conservatives more open to social welfare programs. The left believes in attempting to eradicate social inequality. The left believes in attempting to eradicate social inequality. Christian democracy claimed to combine left and right-wing politics to be above the left-right divide. Christian democracy claimed to combine left and right-wing politics to be above the left-right divide.
Political freedom, political liberty, autonomy.
Negative liberty. Negative liberty. Positive liberty. Positive liberty. Oppression. Oppression. Coercion. Coercion. Economic compulsion. Economic compulsion.
Authoritarianism and libertarianism.
Individual rights and goals are subjugated to group goals, expectations, and conformities. Individual rights and goals are subjugated to group goals, expectations, and conformities. State control over all aspects of society. State control over all aspects of society. Natural rights. Natural rights. Individual property rights. Individual property rights. The protection of civil liberties. The protection of civil liberties. Constitutional limitation of government. Constitutional limitation of government. Free markets. Free markets. Individual well-being. Individual well-being. Prosperity. Prosperity. Social harmony. Social harmony.
Political party and organization abbreviations. ICN, American Constitution Party. ICN, American Constitution Party. IVP, Approval Voting Party. IVP, Approval Voting Party. DEM, Democratic Party. DEM, Democratic Party. GRN, Green Party. GRN, Green Party. IND, Independent. IND, Independent. LIB, Libertarian Party. LIB, Libertarian Party. REP, Republican Party. REP, Republican Party. UNA, Unaffiliated. UNA, Unaffiliated. UPA, Unity Party of Colorado. UPA, Unity Party of Colorado.
Appendix 1. What is a political system?
In political science, a political system means the type of political organization that can be recognized, observed, or otherwise declared by a state. It defines the process for making official government decisions. It usually comprises the governmental, legal, and economic system, social and cultural system, and other state and government-specific systems. However, this is a very simplified view of a much more complex system of categories involving the questions of who should have authority, and what the government influence on its people and economy should be. Still more broadly defined, the political system is seen as a set of processes of interaction, or as a subsystem of the social system interacting with other non-political subsystems, such as the economic system. This points to the importance of informal socio-political processes and emphasizes the study of political development. The main types of political systems recognized are democracies, totalitarian regimes, and, sitting between these two, authoritarian regimes with a variety of hybrid regimes. Modern classification systems also include monarchies as a standalone entity, or as a hybrid system of the main three.
Appendix 2. What is federal systems?
In federal systems, political authority is divided between two autonomous sets of governments, one national and the other subnational, both of which operate directly upon the people. Usually a constitutional division of power is established between the national government, which exercises authority over the whole national territory, and provincial governments that exercise independent authority within their own territories. Of the 8 largest countries in the world by area, 7, Russia, Canada, the United States, Brazil, Australia, India, and Argentina, are organized on a federal basis. China, the 3rd largest, is a unitary state. Federal countries also include Austria, Belgium, Ethiopia, Germany, Malaysia, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, Switzerland, the United Arab Emirates, and Venezuela, among others.
Appendix 3. The structure of government. The study of governmental structures must be approached with great caution, for political systems having the same kind of legal arrangements and using the same type of governmental machinery often function very differently. A parliament, for example, may be an important and effective part of a political system, or it may be no more than an institutional facade of little practical significance. A constitution may provide the framework within which the political life of a state is conducted, or it may be no more than a piece of paper, its provisions bearing almost no relationship to the facts of political life. Political systems must never be classified in terms of their legal structures alone. The fact that 2 states have similar constitutions with similar institutional provisions and legal requirements should never, by itself, lead to the conclusion that they represent the same type of political system. To be useful, the study of governmental structures must always proceed hand in hand with an investigation of the actual facts of the political process. The analyst must exercise the greatest care in distinguishing between form and reality and between prescription and practice. Approached in this way, an examination of the organizational arrangements that governments use for making decisions and exercising power can be a valuable tool of political inquiry. Appendix 4. What is the United Nations?
The United Nations, UN, is a diplomatic and political international organization with the intended purpose of maintaining international peace and security, developing friendly relations among nations, achieving international cooperation, and serving as a center for coordinating the actions of member nations. It is widely recognized as the world's largest international organization. The UN is headquartered in New York City, in international territory with certain privileges extraterritorial to the United States, and the UN has other offices in Geneva, Nairobi, Vienna, and The Hague, where the International Court of Justice is headquartered at the Peace Palace. The UN comprises 6 principal operational organizations: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the International Court of Justice, the UN Secretariat, and the Trusteeship Council. Although the Trusteeship Council has been suspended since 1994. The UN system includes a multitude of specialized agencies, funds, and programs, including the World Bank Group, the World Health Organization, the World Food Program, UNESCO, and UNICEF. Additionally, non-governmental organizations may be granted consultative status with the Economic and Social Council and other agencies.